if my mouse will work. Our project team exists out of Paula, Anik, and me. We are DE247 and our project is called The Klankspeltime. Thank you very much. We all thank you for being here, the coaches, our client, Marine. Thank you for being here, Lufeis as well, really cool. And I'll start off with showing our presentation, what it's all about. Alright, our project description. Our project description was to make a new instrument with new interaction for the Klankspeltime, which is supposed to help children compose their own music. This is what idea we started off. During our during the pressure cooker week, we already made up a concept, which I will introduce right now before the rest of the presentation, because it's the basis for what we started the rest of our project. We came up with a board and a cube. With the cube you could collect sounds, and then you could put these sounds that you collect on the board, and you could manipulate them, make them longer, make them shorter, and in this manner you could create your own song. After this, we continued with this because of the communication we've got back from both our coaches and our clients. We decided to continue with this concept. And before I tell you how we continue the project, I'm going to tell you how the project was, how we decided to continue the project. It's kind of difficult, but it's important for our process. We decided on the first day, on the Monday, we decided we want to do an iterative process. We want to have control of our own process. So we designed an iteration, our first iteration, and decided to continue this kind of iteration all the time. We talked about this with Hans, and we even talked about this with Tilde, and we got some feedback and perfected our idea about how to use our iterations. And one of the most important things was that the iterations are a tool and not your goal. After this, we also decided to make a planning, and with the help of this planning we could then use the iterations on the moments we need them, and even let them overlap each other. Thank you very much, Paula. Right now Paula points out we are here, as you see. After this, I also want to tell you that our project is led by a dictator. She's small and evil, and she makes us have several places where we can keep our data all the time, physical and non-physical. So on the internet, you see we have our database on the study web, and we also have our database on YouTube. I invite you to check both of these if you can't do study web and YouTube anyway, and also our physical database. There you go, or actually I should say databases. Alright, there you go, and our wall, of course, as you see. By the hand of these databases I will show you now our project. We started off during round 1. Alright, this is less fast than if you can read. I excuse myself. Alright, round 1. Iteration round 1, actually. The collecting. What we did in the beginning, we took our box and decided to explode it. We went to see what was important about a box, and we found out that important about a box was the first thing, that you collect your own sounds. So this collecting of own sounds, we had to do research on this. Next to this, we also decided to do different research, namely, is it fun for children to collect sounds? We wanted to know something about the history of electronic music. We wanted to have an understanding if the composing of music would be good for the progress of a child, educationally. And we also did some research, which was very important research as well, about what the Klankspeltime was and is. Sorry. Alright, there you have our physical data. This is the research about electronic music, and the most important thing is, of course, to know where you are right now and what has happened before. But also really important was some information we got out of a group called Musique Concrète. It's an electronic music group in France, and they learned us that collecting sounds is good, but you can do it on two manners. You can collect sounds without knowing what you want to compose, and you can also decide what you want to compose and collect attribute sounds to that. Interesting points. Then we have the research about if composing or music classes are good for your IQ or your process. And well, it is. It helps you. How do you say it? It educates you in your verbal skills, your verbal knowledge, but also it's a slight increase of IQ. Just like normal lessons are, because the idea is that you're challenged as well, and that therefore your analytical skills and your IQ increases, the same as mathematical lessons do. Then we here have the research for what the KST was, and what we got back especially and most importantly is that they want the children to have fun, and that they wanted them to be free, and that they want them to work together, which is all very important, which we have to keep in mind while doing our design ourselves. What was very important as well was that they spoke about begeleiders, coaches, that help the children, how do you say it, they help the children in, they chose the game forms that they could give to the children, and then speak to several forms of intelligence, because not every child is the same. So every child has to have a sort of something they can excel at, and the coaches were there to help the children to do that. So that was very handy for us to keep as a tool for what we could use for our own designs. Then the most important piece of this research was, of course, the user research. We went to a school in Eindhoven with our own made prototypes, and we gave them a test between if they like to collect sounds on a computer, which will be the one form, static, one place, choosing your sounds, and the other form, collecting sounds with your own device. We spoke about this user test a lot with Walter Sluis, who I really like to name during this presentation because we had a lot of help from him. And together with him, we set up this user test, and we conducted this with the children, which was hectic but fun, really fun. It was really cool. And we got some good feedback from out of this, because this was dependent the rest of our process actually, because if the children wouldn't like to collect sounds, then we had a bad assumption the first time, and we should rethink our whole concept. So we were quite happy that we got a really good feedback. They really preferred, statistically, the working with a sound collector over working with a computer, and it gave us a tool to continue during the rest of our process. Here you see the outcomes. Alright, and then we set up our list of demands. Big list. It's the most important parts are the collecting of your own sounds. That is really a demand of ours, collecting your own sounds. And also that the children should be able to fully how do you say it? Be free in what that they can learn. That everybody should learn. That it's can't explain them all, should I? I invite you to come upstairs and check all the demands and wishes we wrote down. All right. Then the second part, round 2. There we go. All right. So it's iteration 2. That's the combining of the sounds. That was the second part. The things we did was we did a very thoroughly ID generation. Then we chose to do a rational ID choosing selection with the help of tips and tricks. It's the demands and wishes we've had. Then we would do an ID selection, and then we would do an ID verification on the hand of use text experts in literature. The first thing we did was the brainstorm, as I told you. We made a mind map of how what composing music was, what music was, and what composing itself was. So you could think of a nail and a hammer, or sewing, or whatever. So we made a big mind map, and then with the help of this mind map, we then created our first ideas. The outcome were loads and loads of pages of ideas. Then after this, this day right now, so we worked the night and the day, and then the outcome of this were, and then you should show me in as well. The outcome were 4 concepts, 4 concept directions actually, because we put together the most important ideas we found. We put together in 4 different groups, which were.
Moet ik je doorgeven of wat?
Ja,